Alright, do a little introduction on my little bike here. Got a, I think it's a 2018 SSR. I think that's when I got it. With these things, it almost doesn't matter anyways. I think they manufacture these things years ahead before they ship them out, because I assume they stay in these boxes for quite a while. But nonetheless, it was first operated and first fully assembled in 2018. That's when I got it. Pretty clean. I mean, I keep it clean. Got the street tire on it, the stunt pegs, all the good stuff. Tell you what, that makes a difference. Dirt tires are tough to wheelie on, especially these small ones. I got the black plastics. It actually originally came orange, but I put the like Street Fighter black on it because I thought it looked cooler, a little less identifiable. I haven't done much to this bike, man. Maintenance, I've almost nothing. I've changed the oil on it pretty consistently. I change it all the time. I do think I have an oil leak. I think one of my gaskets is going bad or something. I'm not particularly sure where exactly it's coming from, but it is small, and it is something I just kind of don't worry too much about. But nonetheless, I just keep an eye on that oil. Paid $800 for this thing shipped to my door, and I haven't had to do anything to it, really. I've had to replace a few things, like to replace the front caliper, the whole assembly, really. I can't remember why. I think I just started losing pressure. I think that's what it was. I started losing pressure in it, and I even tried to bleed it, and I just couldn't never get pressure back into it. So I bought a new one. It was like 30 bucks or something, 50 bucks maybe. And this one's perfect. Shit hits quick. But yeah, nothing really. A couple odds and ends here. No real true modifications. Carb never even messed with. I haven't even taken that thing apart. I haven't even cleaned the carb ever. It runs good. I probably should clean it. Probably does need a cleaning. She's good. She runs good. But yeah, we'll start her up. We'll do some circle wheelies. These stunt pegs are a must. You got to get a longer axle if you're going to do it. It's hard to find the right sizes and stuff, the right one that'll fit, the one that's not too long, the one that's the right diameter, all that stuff. But you can figure it out. You can find them. You got to just get your measurements and stuff. A lot of these websites measure the exact diameter, length, thread, all that stuff, thread count, all that. These pegs, just regular not dirt bike, but BMX pegs, and yeah, they obviously came too small, the hole at the end, but I just drilled out that hole a big enough size, and boom. And these ones actually, I don't know, you could tell it's a little nasty down there. This one you can probably see better, but right here, these have like a spacer, so they're not just flat. They kind of came off this little spacer here and out. That's just how they came. And I actually purposely grabbed those because I wanted a little more space. I didn't want them flat up against her because I didn't know that there would be clearance with the tension, the chain tensioner. I don't know what you would call those, but whatever helps keep the bolt and chain tensioned. Yeah, it starts up good. First kick, no problems. Couple circle wheelies here. Yeah, for 800 bucks, man, I've had so much fun on this bike. It's paid for itself. I mean, if it blew up right now, I pretty much got my money's worth out of it. I hope it doesn't, but it was just worth it, man. I couldn't not buy one of these. I know how people talk a lot of shit about, you know, Chinese bikes and these China bikes and stuff being garbage and not worth it, but I mean, you put in a little more care and time into them, and I mean, they'll last on you. There are some really bad Chinese bikes that just won't, that are just garbage, I guess, but there's so many out there, it's hard to know exactly. You just kind of have to go off of what other people say. But a lot of people will talk shit about the bikes, you know, even if one person's like, yo, I've had this bike for blah 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 amount of years and it's ran great, blah blah blah, you'll have one guy in there like, I had it for a day and it exploded and leaked oil and blah blah blah. You can get that where you get shipped one that I mean, I'm pretty sure these things are put in a crate from the manufacturer in China, and nobody opens it or looks at them or anything. So who knows where it could have got damaged from, like what part of shipping it could have got damaged in. Because once they get it shipped to whatever dealership or whoever has these, they typically will ship them out in the box that they came in. So next thing you know, you've got this bike that just got sent from China to one person to you with nobody inspecting it or anything, and then you get it and it's got a defect. You know, that's possible. And I'll be honest, a lot of these dealerships or retail, whatever you want to call them, that sell these are kind of just like F you, you know. There's these like small, I don't know what they are, but companies or businesses that just buy these for cheap and then sell them for like a $200 profit or something like that. And I guess that's it. There's no real customer support for them sometimes. You get screwed on that sometimes. But if you do get sent a bike in good condition that didn't have a problem, you're usually in luck. That doesn't mean that you're not going to have issues with it, that there may be a defect that isn't, you know, an immediate defect. It may have some type of problem in it that nobody really foresaw coming, and yeah, it sucks right after. It just you kind of hope that maybe a dealership or whatever will hook you up with maybe a replacement part if like your gasket's bad or if the lever was broke or something, you know. But if the lever's broke, you know, you could buy a new one that'll replace it. You could do all that kind of stuff. Really, you just gotta hope your engine and frame is good, and typically I think you'll be all right. Like when I got this thing shipped, I had the plastics on it were broken, and it was hard to tell because they had all these like wax paper coverings on it, so like you couldn't tell until I kind of assembling it, and then I noticed that there were some like little orange pieces of plastic, and I'm like, well, wait a minute, my bike's orange. What's this orange pieces of plastic? And I kind of did some inspecting underneath and looking up, and I saw that it was broke. So I tried to call the company, and I mean, I'll put them on blast. It was Orion Power Sports or some shit like that. I was looking on their website, and they wanted like $80 to $100 for a new set of plastics. And I was like, oh hell no, I ain't doing that. So I called him up. I go, hey dude, like I just opened this and I started to assemble it, and I noticed that like there was some plastic here, and he just was like real shitty about it, like trying to blame me and shit. I'm like, bro, I mean, I understand if you can't do anything, but at least say that politely. Don't just fucking start yelling at me, going like, oh, you should have known, you should have inspected better, and blah 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 on the shipping thing. And I'm like, okay, damn dude. And I was just like, you know, I'm just gonna let you know I'm unsatisfied with this because you're really not doing anything to help me. You know, I just kind of said that to him, and he's like, dude, whatever. You're the idiot who didn't know that. I'm like, damn, bro. Like, fuck you. I'm like, so I didn't really care. It was just some broken plastics. And like I said, I got these black plastics, and I bought a new set of orange plastics. I got these plastics on Amazon, I think for $20 for a full set. So for 20 bucks, I fixed the issue. I didn't have any broken plastics, whatever. And like I said, I bought a black set of plastics and a new orange set of plastics for $40, and they wanted like $80 to $100 for just one. So they're kind of, you know, sketchy in that way. I don't think any of them are really trying to rip you off, but they do, I think, try to avoid responsibility for the bike. They kind of just, they get it from China and then they sell it, and then that's kind of it. They don't really, they may not even know really much about the bike or anything. They may, you know, it could just be, I mean, I can't imagine you'd start buying motorcycles and dirt bikes and selling them if you didn't know anything about motorcycles or dirt bikes. Not saying they know anything about these specific models that they're selling, but you probably should know a little bit about the model you're selling, because, I mean, that's just good business practices. But whatever, you know. So that being said, I think these things are a little more pricey nowadays. I think they're up into like the $1,100, $1,200 range, which is kind of tough. I probably forgot to add, this is a 125cc. I think they come in 110s, and I think 140s. I'm not sure. I think the SSR does, yeah. Because I know there's different brands like Apollo, Thumpstar, which is actually an Australian brand. And I've heard those are pretty badass, but you will pay like about $1,500 for one of those. Still cheaper than buying a Honda. Because man, some of those Honda 110s are like $3,000 brand new, and that's crazy to me. Even the, like, I think CR, what are they, 50s or 70s or something like that, even those get up there in like, you know, $2,500, $2,000 for, you know, and you're talking a 50cc bike. No doubt those things are still fun, but I just couldn't personally bring myself to spend that much on a little bike. Like, unless you're going to be stunting those things, I personally don't see a lot of fun in them. That's kind of the whole reason I bought this thing, was to do wheelies and not kill myself. Because I ride my other bike is a KTM 400 EXC, and, you know, doing wheelies on that thing is fucking fun as hell, but definitely a little more sketchy. Like this thing, you could do these little wheelies, you could jump off of it, it's so small, you could just ditch the bike no problem, not hurt yourself. You know, you're not that high off the ground. My KTM, I'm like barely could get my feet down. You know, I'm barely able to flat foot it. So these things are fun, and I definitely recommend getting one if you could get it for a good price. You know, like if you're gonna pay like $1,200, I kind of can see how you can consider that. But I paid $800 something, and it was shipped to my door, and that was it. You know, they said free shipping, but they calculate that into the price anyways. So I paid like $890, and if you think about the shipping, which was probably like $200, if that, I got this bike for $600, you know, and just I had to pay $200 shipping, because otherwise I don't think there's any dealerships of these bikes, and I would have never gotten a bike like this for this price anywhere around here. You know, I would have had to go to a pro dealership, you know, and stuff. I'm sorry I'm driving around in circles here, probably boring you, but I'm just like focusing on what I'm saying and trying to like remember, because it's been a while since I bought this thing. But I'll take a couple extra routes here. This is a cool little spot. This used to be like a mini golf batting cage go-kart complex that's been abandoned for years. So this is the go-kart track, and this thing's dope. I would love to like clean this place up with, like, I would need help and get a bunch of buddies over here and just like have pit bike races on this thing. Like, this would be so fucking fun. To just sit here and like take these turns, like kicking your buddy over, you know, putting a boot on him. It would be so much fun, but it would need so much cleaning up. There's so much glass and like wood and nails back here. It's so sketchy, and it's mostly all right here. But yeah, you gotta watch, like, you'd be blowing your tires out. There's so much junk under that floods all the time. So like if it rains for a while, forget it. You'd have to figure out how to drain this. This actually just recently drained, because the last time I was here it was fairly full of water. But it just gets so nasty being filled with water. You would have to like scrape and scoop all this shit out. But how fun would that be? You going under the bridge, around, under the bridge, around. It'd be so much fun. But I don't got any buddies to do it, really, that have bikes or the time. Plus, who knows? You need to get like power back here. But probably have to put up some guardrails so nobody gets knocked off the bridge, because that would really suck. And yeah, I have the GoPro I use, so if it's hard to hear me, I apologize. My GoPro is the Hero Session, so it's just this little cube, and it has no ability to have a mic plugged into it or anything, but it is always waterproof. I don't have to have it in the case, and it is small, so it is a nice GoPro. But yeah, I don't have a mic or anything plugged in. I'm just kind of yelling, trying to be louder than my bike and keep my RPMs low. Enough with the story time, I guess, on how to get one of these. You know, that's kind of what this video is going to be about. Like, should I buy a Chinese bike or not? It really has to do with your budget. If you can afford a Honda or a Suzuki even, or a Kawasaki, Yamaha, whatever, KTM, go for it, dude. Like, hell yeah. Just kind of contemplate on what you want to do. Do you want, you know, if you can afford that, do you want to get a big boy bike and then, you know, like a 400 or a 450, or, you know, I think now they make them into 500, 600 ranges and shit. Do you want one of those and then spend that extra little bit amount on one of these that you could just trash? You know, is that something you want to do? Or do you just want a little bike? You want to get into riding for your first time. You want to know if you like it. You don't want to spend too much on something you're not even sure about. Go for the Chinese bike then. Go for a cheap Chinese bike, thrash it, blow it up, who cares? You know, it's, by the time you're able to destroy the thing, you probably get your money out of it. Or just take care of it, you know, take a little extra care of it, change the oil on it, you'll learn something about it. You know, that's how I got into this shit. Like, I never rode a bike and one day bought one, and all of a sudden I learned that I had to start working on it because I didn't know anybody who would work on a bike, and I just started looking up videos on YouTube, anything, looking up forums on how to fix them, what to do, what it means, what this means, how this works, and whatever. And I started learning how to fix bikes like it was nothing, and I actually started enjoying fixing bikes almost more than I enjoy riding now. I barely have time to ride, but I do enjoy putting work in, sitting in the garage and just tinkering. And just from that, I learned a skill. You know, I learned how to work on engines. I learned how to how carburetors work exactly. You know, what's all behind that. From nothing to knowing something while enjoying a hobby. Like, I didn't have to go to classes. I didn't have to sit there and have somebody teach me anything. I kind of just did it on my own. So, I mean, it was a learning experience. For me, it was worth it. The money that I put into bikes, be the money some people probably put into school, and not even probably. People probably put way more into school than what I put into bikes. So yeah, it's your call. If you, it all depends, you know. These bikes are fun. These bikes are fun, and I mean, a bike's a bike, man. As long as you're able to have fun, as long as it rides, it works, you're gonna have fun on it. You might get hurt too, though. That's another thing you gotta be careful of, is bikes are dangerous and you can get hurt on them. So it's all about being careful. You know, it's a big step to make, buying a bike in general, especially if you don't know anything about them. You know, more than likely you will get hurt. It just depends on how bad you'll get hurt. But that goes for anything, right? I mean, you know, you got to take risks in life. You know, you can live in a bubble, but I won't lie, there's some days where I'm just like, I want to ride, but then I don't, because I'm just like, you know, I'm just not in the mood for like something to happen. You know, I really don't want to deal with that, so I won't go and ride just because of the risk. Like, people are bad drivers. Like, I have tons of footage of people doing shitty things while driving, like fucked up shit where they just pull out in front of you, fucked up shit like that. Like, they're just not paying attention. I've had them look me dead in the eyes while riding. I guess not dead in the eyes because I'm wearing a helmet. Look me dead in my direction, and then fucking pull out right in front of me. And then they look at you like, oh, sorry, I didn't see you. Like, you better fucking see me. You know, so it's not only dangerous on yourself, because if you're fucking around and being stupid, yeah, you could get yourself hurt. And if you're not doing anything and just ride normal and somebody pulls out in front of you, you could really get hurt. And it's not your fault, you know? So it is a risk in general, just buying a bike. And you might be taking a risk on a certain bike that you do buy. But it's all about having fun and doing what you want to do. But then you get to do shit like this, or you learn how to do shit like this. you just got to be careful. You know, like I have my eye on that car. You know, and that's just it. When you're riding, you pretty much have to be in the mind of everybody around you, and it is stressful. It can be stressful, and it could be life-changing. You know, you could have a life-changing injury or even death. You know, it comes with the game. That's just what you got to risk. You know, and if it's worth it. I know some people who picked up bikes, rode for a while, and just kind of said, you know what, I don't really ride much, it's too dangerous. I don't really ride much because it's too dangerous, and it's just like, you know, it's like a pain to do. Like, it is fun for them, but it's not worth the danger they feel that they're in. You know, you could have one bad thing happen to you and you'd be like, nah, fuck this. So it's just what you choose. And what you're comfortable with. And if you just get a little bike, like I see why those guys buy those Honda Grounds and shit. The shit look fun. They're small. You can kind of like, it kind of keeps you from going fast. Keeps you at slower speeds, but nonetheless the bike's dangerous at any speed, so there's not much to really see. And doing stupid shit on bikes is dangerous too. I've busted my ass a couple times on some wheelies. Busted my ass doing nothing really that extra. It's just a matter of an extreme sport. You just gotta kind of think of it as an extreme sport, you know, skydiving, base jumping, cliff jumping, all that, you know. It's adrenaline for risk. And, you know, that if that's how you're going to choose to live your life, then go for it, bro. Do your thing. Have fun. Just be careful, be smart, and see, like there, I didn't bother fucking with this car because it's not worth it. And technically I'm riding illegally or whatever, so even if I get fucked here, it's still kind of my fault. Lost my balance forward on that. Started leaning back and started catching it, but I was catching speed too. Got a little sketchy. That's the other thing too, is like, don't be afraid to stop. Don't be afraid to put it down. You don't have to go all out all the time, even if you're amazing, you know, at riding. But don't be afraid to not do something. If you're not comfortable, don't fucking do it. You don't have to show off for your friends. You could be the best wheelier around, but if you're not feeling it, don't do it. You know, there will always be another day. And on that note, I'm gonna leave it with that. There will always be another day. As long as you stay safe.